Ingrid Andress. She only had one job to do, and that one job she failed miserably. And now, is she the worst national anthem singer of all time? We'll touch on that and more. You're watching The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on Roku TV via BS3, BS3TVLive.com, and on BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson's YouTube channel. And you're listening to it live on the Real Wise Radio. And it starts right now. Well, good morning, Shifter. It is Wednesday, July the 17th, 2024, and welcome to BS3 Presents The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. I can't think of this man's name. Oh, yeah, Cole Johnson. And for the next 60 minutes, sit back and relax as we get and keep you, informed, engaged, entertained, enlightened, and spiritually fed. On the program, of course, you heard in the cover story feature. Other than that one, we're going to touch on Bob Menendez, the U.S. Senator from New Jersey. He was found guilty on 16 different charges. We'll touch on what he's guilty on and basically the telenovela that it eventually became. We also will, in lighting the way, touch on mistakes. Are we supposed to make them? And what should we do when we are in the midst of making mistakes and afterwards? All of that is for later. But for now, let's start you up. And here's what's taking place in the world today. Day 2 of the 2024 Republican National Convention in Milwaukee was interesting. It focused on law enforcement and border security. The speakers that came aboard were, of course, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, Florida Senator Marco Rubio, Republican National Committee co-chair Laura Trump, and others. And now the formality begins as to what is going to take place in day 3. But 2 down, 2 to go. I guess that's how you have to look at it. And speaking of Donald Trump, there was a call which was leaked, and he told independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. that, quote, "we're going to win," close quote, pushed conspiracy theories about vaccines and appeared to discuss Kennedy's future in a recording of their private phone conversation Monday that surfaced online. Now, Kennedy met with Trump 2 days after the Republican nominee survived assassination attempt. In a call he previously said was about, quote, national unity, close quote. It was a 1 minute, 40-second clip, and Trump could be heard alluding to Kennedy's long history as an anti-vaccine advocate. He also appears to suggest that Kennedy should continue to work in that arena. Speaking of arenas, Bill Maher, the comedian talk show host, he is canceling his Sunday night show in an arena in Milwaukee. Maher posted a video on social media, and he said, quote, "It's not going to happen tonight, I can tell you. First, they said it's going to be impossible to get to the theater because downtown Milwaukee is going to be closed off for security reasons. I wanted to go to Milwaukee anyway, and maybe things will change. I hate to cancel shows," close quote. He added that the few times he canceled a performance was because of a plane issue or weather. Speaking of weather, Now, are we affecting time itself with global warming? Two new scientific studies suggest that this phenomenon is changing the rotation of the Earth and is also increasing the length of day, quote, at an unprecedented rate, close quote. Now, here's what's happening. So, as the planet heats up, ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica are melting. And this water from the polar regions is flowing into the world's oceans and especially into the equatorial region. This is changing the Earth's shape, thus slowing its speed of rotation. President Joe Biden said it was a, quote, mistake, close quote, for him to say that it was time to put a, quote, bullseye, close quote, on former President Donald Trump during an interview with NBC News' Lester Holt. Biden rejected accusations his speeches or rhetoric could have incited the gunman who attempted to take Trump's life Saturday in Pennsylvania. Biden said, quote, I meant to focus on him, focus on what he's doing, focus on his policies, focus on the number of lies he's told in the debate, close quote. Biden made the comment about Trump as he battles to push to quit, as he battles a push to quit the Democratic ticket after a poor debate performance, a poor NATO summit performance, and poor performances with these interviews that he's trying to do that underscored concerns about his age. No, it underscores concerns about his mental acuity. But after Trump's assassination attempt Saturday evening, Biden said in an Oval Office address on Sunday night that it was time to cool down the temperature of the political rhetoric. Tiger Woods may not have the game he once did in his prime, but his tongue and competitive fire are still as sharp as ever. Woods is set to tee it up this week at Royal Troon in search of his fourth British Open title. Now, he hasn't made the cut in any tournament since the Masters back in April, but he told reporters Tuesday he still believes he has a chance to win, or he wouldn't even be playing at all. Now, the statement carries a little bit more weight than normal on the heels of comments Scottish golfer Colin Montgomery made last Saturday, to the Times of London, when he suggested it may be time for Tiger to retire. Well, Mr. Woods, Eldrick, fired back. Quote, as a past champion, I'm exempt until I'm 60. Colin's not. He's not a past champion, so he's not exempt. So he doesn't get the opportunity to make that decision. I do. Close quote. And you see the smile here? Tiger said it with that same type of smile. Amber Rose now has a thorn in her side, and it's MSNBC's host, Joy Reid. The former reality TV star clapped back at Reid's criticism of her speech Monday night on opening night of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, in which Reid spoke directly to Black viewers and called Rose, quote, racially ambiguous, close quote, going so far as to say, quote, I don't want to say she's Black because she has said she's not. So I don't want to say this Black woman, this woman of whoever race she claims, she says she's not Black, but the RNC brought in somebody whose career is based in Black culture, close quote. Reid went on to also add, quote, I don't know anyone who takes their political cues from Amber Rose, but just in case you do, you might want to duplicate doing your own research because she might not have done it thoroughly, close quote. Now, not to be outdone, the clapback from Amber Rose. Quote, hi at Joy Ann Reid. And this was posted on X, I'm sorry. Quote, hi at Joy Ann Reid. I've never said I wasn't Black. I said I identify as biracial. I'm not going to invalidate Amber. Invalidate. You spent too much time with Kanye. Oh, my bad. I'm not going to invalidate my white father to make you feel more comfortable. Stop being a race baiter. You are president does enough race baiting for all of us. Close quote. Of course, the reference of your president is to the current one, the president of her country as well as mine and yours, Joe Biden. Travelers with vacation rental bookings have options in the face of severe weather. Major platform Vrbo recently added a new extenuating circumstances policy that requires hosts to give refunds no matter the property's cancellation rules amid, quote, unforeseen large-scale travel disruptions, close quote. The company said in a statement said that in a statement. On Airbnb, for its part, cancellations are typically subject to the listings policy, but big events that, quote, prevent or legally prohibit completion of a reservation, close quote, may fall under the separate major disruptive events policy. The platform did not immediately respond to USA Today's questions about specific impacts or policy changes related to Hurricane Beryl. The following sports update is brought to you by the Playmakers Blog Network. NFL, the Bears and the overall number one draft pick, Caleb Williams, agreed to a 4-year, $39.4 million fully guaranteed deal. Now, along with that, the ninth pick in the ninth pick in the first round of that same draft, Romeo Dunze, he gets a 4-year, $25.5 fully guaranteed deal. Oh, and not to be outdone, 49ers wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, he requested a trade after not receiving a lucrative contract extension, and the trade talks, and the negotiation talks grinded to a halt. He is due to make over $14 million on the following year of his rookie deal. The Mavs guards in NBA action. The Mavs guard Kyrie Irving is recovering from a broken hand. He underwent surgery to repair that left broken hand, which was injured earlier in July. And of course, sad news also in the WNBA realm. Former player and the father of Kobe Bean Bryant, Joe Jelly Bean Bryant, he has died and passed away at the age of 69. To the diamond we go, and Jarren Duran's 2-run homer pushed the AL past the NL 5-3 in the Midsummer Classic, and he was the MVP of the game. To the links in golf, we touched on Tiger Woods. He'll tee off tomorrow at 9:37 a.m. Eastern with PGA champion Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay. The 152nd Open Championship, begins tomorrow. The tee times were revealed. The world's number one will pair with Jordan Spieth, Cameron Young at 10:10 Eastern tomorrow. Rory McIlroy will tee off at 5:09 Eastern in his return from the devastating defeat at the U.S. Open, paired with Max Homa and Tyrrell Hatton. On the basketball court, prepping for the Olympiad, the men's national basketball team, they play their third exhibition game today against reigning NBA MVP Nikola Jokic and Serbia. Tip-off is at noon Eastern in Abu Dhabi. You can catch it on FS1. And the women's national soccer team closes out their showcase with a 0-0 draw against Costa Rica. The Olympic soccer begins July 25th as the USA are in Group B with Australia, Germany, and Zambia. Remember, the men ain't bad at Copa America. Sad. Turning our attention to weather across the U.S., courtesy of the Weather Channel. Over in the Pacific Northwest, it will be partly cloudy skies and a high of 85 degrees in Seattle. It will be mostly sunny skies with a high of 75 in Minneapolis, mostly sunny skies as well with a high of 80 in Chicago. It will be partly cloudy skies with a high of 87 in St. Louis. All the wet stuff you can handle with a high of 82 in Detroit. Over on the East Coast, it will be sun with a little bit of thunderstorm mix with a high of 93 in Boston. Sun thunderstorm mix with a high of 91 in New York. Sun thunderstorm mix with a high of 97 in Washington. That's cooled down from 2 days being 100 plus. Down south, it will be rain, and more rain with a high of 89 in Miami. Thunderstorms with a high of 91 in Atlanta. Thunderstorms with a high of 85 in Memphis. Thunderstorms with a high of 88 in New Orleans. Oh, in the Southwest, it will be partly cloudy skies with a high of 98 in San Antonio. Rain and thunderstorm and sun mix with a high of 97 in Dallas. Sun and thunderstorm mix with a high of 93 in Houston. Sun and thunderstorm mix with a high of 87 in the Rockies over in Denver. And we tie for the hot spot for today. We have Sunny skies with a high of 111 in Phoenix. We have mostly sunny skies with a high of 111 in Las Vegas. And over on the West Coast, it is going to be partly cloudy skies with a high of 85 in Los Angeles, partly cloudy skies with a high of 69 in the Bay Area. And that is your look on weather for today. And now you have been properly started up. Coming up later, Ingrid Andress. She sounded like a cat got strangled. Where does she rank on all-time worst national anthem performances? And later, in Lighting the Way, how should we be about mistakes? But speaking about mistakes, coming up next, Senator Bob Menendez found guilty on 16 charges. What are those charges? And how did this case break down? You're listening to BS3 Presents The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on Rearwise Radio, and you're watching the BS3 Presents The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on Roku TV, BS3TVLive.com, and BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson's YouTube channel. We'll be right back right after this.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Drew Willingham.
In this case, yeah, you put the blame on Kyle Shanahan for apparently not preparing the team enough for the overtime rules, supposedly.
Cole Johnson. Peyton was considered the winner, and he was the darling of all darlings for Gerald. With a special appearance by Tyrone Alizé McDummy.
Ain't nobody calling me. Text delete.
Join these two football enthusiasts as they give you Total Football Talk. Live every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central on the Sertoba Media and the Comey Media YouTube channels. The moderator.
As woman, you can't be too friendly because the minute you're friendly, then they think you're flirting.
The level head.
I think so that thing is over. So I'm not looking at men like that anymore.
The truth slayer.
Okay, what in the HPV yeast infection is going on over here?
The X Factor.
So I'd rather you tell me everything up front and let's start fresh.
The intersection of life and spirituality never sounded this good. BS3 Network proudly presents Life Happens. Live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Adrian Shawan, Scotty Knox or Knox City, and Eric Butler Sr. or Butler. Join these three tonight on Is It Wednesday Yet? Live tonight and every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central on Roku TV via BS3, the BS3 Network YouTube channel, and the BS3 Network Facebook page. It is It Wednesday Yet? Catch these three dynamic personalities, this dynamic trio, live tonight and every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central on Roku TV. Just hit that BS3 logo on the Roku TV app, the BS3 Network YouTube channel, and the BS3 Network Facebook page. And how you doing, Shifter? It is great to be with you. Cole Johnson here. BS3 Presents The Morning Show with Cole Johnson is on the air and live. And it is wonderful to meet your acquaintance because you powered this show. And speaking of powering the show, if you want to be amongst the shifters in Shift Nation, all you have to do is join me live every weekday, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central on the BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel, and we will engage as we always do every single broadcast. And speaking of which, being a man of my word, I'm about to engage with Shift Nation now. Ryan McCarthy, he says, good morning, fellow shifters. Good morning to you. And I will catch your rendition or your latest edition of No Credentials Required that was aired last night. My mentality brother, my best friend, Wise Lefe, was a guest host, and they broke down the program, the movie, the program. He, Ryan, and Dustin Henry. And if you want to catch them live, you can actually watch that episode. Well, after this is over, you can actually go ahead and YouTube and watch it on No Creds REQ on that YouTube channel. But if you want to catch it live, they are on Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. And my man Snowman from Snowman Multimedia, or Brian Snow, he says, "What's up, shifters? I'm listening to the old MLB or Major League Baseball on NBC theme and remembering the first All-Star game I watched with Pops. Thank you, smiling Fred Lynn." And the reason why my former partner on Snowman in the Morning mentions that is because that is the gentleman in Snowman's hometown of Chicago at Old Comiskey, not the new one, but the Old Comiskey, hit the first and still to this date, 41 years later, only Grand Slam in All-Star Game history. Good times, good times. Well, from someone that actually hit a Grand Slam to someone that, well, I think in life has basically struck out. New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez, he, how can I put this in delicate terms? He's in trouble. And he has thrown so many people that he has been in business with and even his own family under the bus along with him. Oh, my gosh. And in just my thoughts, I'm just going to shake my head and just reel off the ridiculousness that has been the Bob Menendez bribery conspiracy case. Oh, my goodness. Okay, where do I begin? So the Democratic senator from New Jersey has been on trial for a lengthy amount of time, and he was found guilty on all counts, and he was charged 16 times after a lengthy trial in which he and his 3 co-defendants face indictments on federal corruption and bribery. It was the second time in 6 years that Menendez faced bribery charges, but this time, unlike the last, there will be no acquittal. You got to be more careful when you do bad business. His co-defendants, businessmen Wael Hana and Fred Dibes, also were found guilty on all those counts as well, and all 3 are scheduled to be sentenced October 29th. The verdict for each of the 16 charges against the New Jersey Democratic senator were read aloud by U.S. District Judge Sidney Stein's courtroom at the Daniel Patrick Moynihan's U.S. Courthouse in Lower Manhattan just before 1 p.m. yesterday. The federal indictment against Menendez was first unsealed last September and updated with suspending indictments 3 times in October, in January, and in March. And it was alleged that Menendez, his wife Nadine Arslanian Menendez, and 3 businessmen from New Jersey, Hannah Dibes and Jose Uribe, were a part of a bribery scheme. Menendez and his wife allegedly received, among other things, cash, gold bars, and a luxury car in exchange for using his political influence. Now, the indictment alleges that between 2018 and 2022, Menendez and his wife, quote, engaged in a corrupt relationship with Hannah Uribe and Daibes, close quote, to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes in exchange for Menendez using his, quote, power and influence to protect, to enrich those businessmen, and to benefit the government in Egypt, close quote. Even as Menendez was chair of the powerful Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Lord. Gurbia Guadewal, the former New Jersey Attorney General, testified during the trial as well. Federal prosecutors said that Menendez sought to have Guadewal, the state's top prosecutor from 2018 to 2021, intervene in cases involving two associates of insurance and trucking businessman Uribe. In exchange, Uribe allegedly helped Menendez and his wife buy a $60,000 Mercedes-Benz convertible with money disguised as a loan. In a superseding indictment, the U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York alleged Menendez was multitasking for Daibes, also publicly praising Qatar to entice a Qatari sheik to invest in a property Daibes owns. In exchange, Daibes allegedly gave Menendez bribes in the form of cash and gold bars. Not to be confused with bars that MC spit on wax, but I digress. The initial indictment released last September made it seem as if Daibes made payments solely to get Menendez to intervene in a bank fraud case against the developer. Menendez was not only making calls to the U.S. attorney, but around the same time, also was sending text messages to the potential Qatari investor on behalf of Daibes, prosecutors said during the trial. Now, dozens of motions were filed in the months running up to the start date as attorneys for Menendez sought to dismiss evidence, including the infamous gold bars, to move the trial to New Jersey and to sever the cases of Arslanian, Menendez, and Menendez himself. And you had to throw your wife under the bus, son. Wow. Anyway, Stein allowed for little movement on most of the requests and ultimately told the attorneys to, quote, stop wasting time, close quote, just days before opening statements for this trial in May. Now, while the trial was expected to last about 6 weeks, it spanned more than 9 and included testimony from federal agents, judges, the former New Jersey Attorney General, and Uribe, a star witness for federal prosecutors, who agreed to cooperate and pled guilty to 7 charges but brought against him in the case. Uribe currently awaits sentencing. Menendez's team leaned heavily on the defense that his wife was the mastermind and he was unaware of exactly what she was up to. Attorneys for Ana and Daibes also highlighted, quote, gaps in evidence. Now, what's next for his wife? Arslanian Menendez faces the same charges as Bob Menendez. She was initially supposed to be tried alongside her co-defendants after even requesting trials to be severed. They were eventually separated due to Arslanian Menendez's diagnosis of a serious mental condition. Menendez, Bob, later announced that his wife was undergoing treatment for breast cancer. The judge has postponed his wife's trial date until medical records are received by August 16th. Delay will not interfere with the Speedy Trial Act. There was originally a July 3rd deadline for documents. Now, weeks after the first indictment, Arslanian and Menendez made headlines again when details emerged of a 2018 crash where she struck and killed a man while driving her Mercedes-Benz in Bogota, Colombia. While she wasn't charged for the indictment, the New Jersey Attorney General's Office of Public Integrity and Accountability is investigating the circumstances of said crash. A month after that crash, according to indictments brought by the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Arslanian Menendez was texting Wael Hana, an Egyptian-American businessman who was indicted in a bribery scheme, about her lack of a car. Hana later provided her with a 2019 Mercedes-Benz C300 convertible. Now, the state's senior senator will still be on the ballot in 4 months, albeit as an independent, not as a Democrat. He did not attempt to enter what was for a time a contentious Democratic primary for the chance to run but instead that he would focus on the trial and then the campaign. Though Menendez wasn't involved, he loomed large over the primary process after Congressman Andy Kim announced within days of the charges being announced that he would run for Senate. A few months later, after First Lady Tammy Murphy threw her hat, First Lady of New Jersey, Tammy Murphy threw her hat in the race as well. The two battled for ballot position at the county conventions earlier this year before Murphy ultimately withdrew from the race. And Kim will face Republican Curtis Bashaw in an independent Menendez this fall. Now, what's next for Uribe, you may ask? One of the three businessmen who originally was indicted along with Menendez and his wife faced a delayed sentencing due to the postponement of Arslanian Menendez's trial. He became the star witness and testified for several days and admitting to bribing the senator. Uribe was initially scheduled to be sentenced June 14th, but will now appear for a judge October 29th, and he was charged alongside the senator last fall, but entered a guilty plea after making a plea deal with federal prosecutors. Uribe changed his not guilty plea to guilty on 7 charges back in March, including conspiracy to commit bribery and wire fraud. Now, according to a plea agreement, Uribe could face up to 95 years in prison, though he could win leniency by cooperating and testifying against the other defendants, which he has agreed to do. Uribe was charged with conspiracy to commit bribery, conspiracy to commit honest service and wire fraud, honest service wire fraud, conspiracy to commit obstruction of justice, tax evasion, and wire fraud. Uribe originally pleaded not guilty in September and was released on $1 million bond and on personal recognizance secured by his residence in Clifton, New Jersey, and he is restricted to only New Jersey, parts of Pennsylvania, and parts of New York. Uribe was asked to forfeit $246,000 in representing the amount of traceable proceeds, according to court documents. The federal indictment alleges that from 2018 to 2023, Uribe, quote, directly and indirectly would and did corruptly give, offer, and promise something of value to a public official, and offer and promise a public official to give something of value to another person and entity with intent to influence an official act and to induce such public official to do an act and omit to do an act in violation of the lawful duty of such official, close quote. Specifically, Uribe allegedly requested that a business associate in the Bronx made a payment for a Mercedes-Benz convertible for Menendez and his wife on May the 3rd back in 2019. The following day, Uribe had the associate make the payment from a corporate bank account that he opened at a bank branch in the Bronx. Arslanian Menendez later sent a text to Uribe about setting a meeting with the three of them. And here we are. This is certainly a case of you just simply got to be more careful. And then the chump throwing his wife under the bus to boot. Son, why? Well, anyway, those are just my thoughts. And speaking of a program that offers just their thoughts, join my girls, Grace, Tanya, Felicia, and Kim as they make life and spirituality intersect in such a harmonious manner. Join those 4 on Life Happens live tonight or today and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on Roku TV via BS3, the BS3 Network YouTube channel, and the BS3 Network Facebook page. Join Grace, Kim, Felicia, and Tanya on Life Happens podcast that is live today and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on Roku TV. You can hit that BS3 logo on the Roku TV app, BS3TVLive.com, the BS3 Network YouTube page, and the BS3 Network YouTube channel. Coming up next, oh, say we don't want. Never mind. We did not hear something that we were supposed to hear Monday, but cats and dogs did. You're listening to BS3 Presents The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on Roku TV and BS3TVLive.com. Also, you're watching it on the BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel, and you're listening to it live on Real Wise Radio. We'll be right back right after this. This is a BS3 Network presentation.
I want to do a TED Talk, but I don't have anything to talk about yet. I'm getting there.
Life is for the living. We're not here that long.
You can learn anything you want to learn without any money spent.
What do I really enjoy? What do I really want out of life?
I am your host, W-I-Z-E.
Are you in a life holding pattern? Well, this is for you. Welcome to the Stuck in My Mind podcast. Live every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central. Whether it's the men's college game,
the way that this season has been going, anything is possible.
The women's college game,
and how passionate Angel Reese was at that press conference, they got their mojo now.
The WNBA,
AJ Wilson on Twitter 1 and 2, followed by Brittany Griner, Aaliyah Boston, Jackie Young,
or the NBA.
The Lakers had a 0.8 chance of winning. And then what happened in the fourth quarter? LeBron James by himself outdid the Clippers.
You will get any and all of the information right at your fingertips or your earlobes. Join the Playmaker as he breaks down all things basketball in Shooting Lights Out on the Playmakers blog, network, YouTube channel, and where you can find podcasts. This is a BS3 Network presentation. Adrian Shawan.
There was a man talking about where the homebodies at? Where the women at? And the women was stitching it and was like, we at home.
Scotty Knox.
Another pet peeve of mine, right? First date, if you show up with the ponytail that come out at the top of your head, it will not be a second date.
Butler.
I want people to think independently and freely. She's not. $100 for lunch. I almost got up and walked off.
A show that asks only one question. Is it Wednesday yet? Live every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central.
See everybody talking like they doing what we doing, but these brothers is rare and they ain't moving like we moving. And everywhere we go.
Welcome back to BS3 Presents The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. And if you want to watch an interview and interviewer do his thing, my brother Wise LFA does his thing. Join him and an inspirational guest, as there is something that every time you watch an interview of his, you will pull some nugget that will help your life be better. So join Wise LFA and a guest on Stuck in My Mind podcast. You catch him live every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central on Roku TV via BS3 and the Stuck in My Mind podcast YouTube channel. That is Stuck in My Mind podcast, live every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central on Roku TV. Just hit the BS3 logo on the Roku TV app, BS3TVLive.com, and the Stuck in My Mind podcast YouTube channel. You're live watching the BS3 Presents The Morning Shift on, that's right, Roku TV via BS3. We're also watching it live on BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel and the Real Wise Radio Network. You can listen to us there. We're back, and it is great to be amongst you. To Shift Nation we go, because the lifeblood is where you all are. My man, Cool McCain, the hardest working content creator I know, he said, Shift Nation, what it do? What it do? And tonight you will hear him probably get giddy and get amped to get ready for his beloved team, the Eagles, as it is 1 week away from them reporting to training camp, Eagles Elite Podcast, any and all things Philadelphia Eagles. This man will tell it and will give it to you straight. He's not a pom-pom waver. This dude is a fan of not only the team, but of football and of the Eagles doing things the right way. Catch him tonight on Eagles League Podcast YouTube channel at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Central. If you are an Eagles fan, that's the program you should head to. And to my man Ryan McCarthy, he says, man, sounds like Bob Menendez found a golden ticket in the Willy Wonka bar. Too bad it's to federal prison. Yeah. It's something about if something is too good to be true, it most certainly is. Well, I think he, along with having a telenovela come to life, I think that's exactly what happened to Mr. Menendez. Well, from one person about to face time to another that I think she might be having to say a sentence every now and then to, I guess, curb something that she admitted that she has. Ingrid Andress. Now, most of us really did not know that name until Monday night, but we got a chance to know her after that. And why is that? In today's cover story, we'll touch on why we are hearing Ingrid Andress's name, the admission that she had, and where she says she's going to go and where she ends up on the all-time national anthem performances. Well, Miss Ingrid Andress, she stepped up in Globe Life Park in Arlington, Texas. She was about to sing the national anthem, and she caught a lot of flack. Miss Andress, whose rendition of the national anthem went viral after her performance before Major League Baseball's Home Run Derby on Monday, she's admittedly checking herself into rehab. And she revealed this on social media yesterday that she was intoxicated while singing the Star Spangled Banner at the event. She said, quote, "I'm not going to, y'all, I was drunk last night. I'm checking myself into a facility today to get the help I need. This was not me last night. I apologize to MLB, all the fans, and this country I love so much for that rendition. I'll let y'all know how rehab is. I hear it's super fun." Close quote. And she signed it off, XO Ingrid. Now, USA Today tried to reach out to Andress and her reps for a comment. None were offered. The singer slated for two upcoming performances, one at the Basilica Block Party August 3rd in Minneapolis, and another at the Country Calling Festival in Ocean City, Maryland. That's in October on the 4th. It's unclear whether those performances will continue as scheduled or it will be pulled from her docket. Now, on social media, fans widely mocked Andress's version of the anthem, with some declaring it actually as bad enough that it is, quote, the worst national anthem performance of all time, close quote. Following a high-energy and entertaining introduction of the 8 Home Run Derby contestants by actor comedian Marcelo Menendez of Saturday Night Live fame, the country music star was up to sing, but viewers weren't impressed by what they heard. The 32-year-old is a country music singer. If you don't know who she is, she released her debut album, Lady Like, back in 2020, and it reached number 9 on the Billboard Top Country Albums chart, and she followed it up with 2022 with the album Good Person. Andress has been nominated for 4 Grammys, including Best Country Album for Lady Like and Best New Artist. And she previously appeared on the singing competition show The Sing Off and has songwriting credits on songs like Charlie XCX's Boys. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, how bad was it? How could you compare? Well, that will be up to you. Then now there's other renditions that you say are ranking just as bad, like Fergie. Here she was 35 years after Marvin Gaye performed his memorable national anthem at the NBA All-Star Game. The former Black Eyed Peas singer, she went in the wrong direction in that same event and then later apologized, actually admitting, quote, "I'm a risk taker artistically, but clearly this rendition didn't strike the intended tone," close quote. Oh, we hit a tone. It hit a tone. It hit a tone. All right, Fergie. I'm sorry. Roseanne Barr. Now, the controversial comic laughed, screeched, spat, and grabbed her crotch. You know, girl, you don't have one. During the course of singing the anthem at a 1990 San Diego Padres game, of course, a chorus of boos, and of course, it cascaded down on Barr for the duration. And for those who don't know, San Diego is a hardcore military town. Hardcore military town. And the performance was so bad that President George H.W. Bush at the time later deemed it, quote, disgraceful, close quote. The original. And then there's Carl Lewis. And the Rockets. Red glare. Uh-oh. Athletes can actually be up to the task. Just ask DeMarcus Ware. He did a really good job of singing the national anthem prior to last year's Hall of Fame. As for the Olympic champion and the gold medalist, nah. The anthem is understandably sacred to millions of Americans across the world, but if you allow your sense of humor to creep in a little bit, his attempt at a 1993 New Jersey Nets game will invariably make you laugh. But I don't think it will make you laugh as it did Charlie Steiner, the former Sports Center anchor and former Yankees play-by-play announcer. He, and I love the quip, he, in a fit of hysterics, called it, quote, Francis Scott off-key, close quote. And that shot, of course, was directed at the 9-time gold medal winner. But Charlie just simply completely lost his composure. Well, speaking of losing something, I think Miss Andress lost a whole lot of things. Her voice, her nerve, and probably her confidence, because it wasn't good at all. Well, hopefully, though, rehab for you, Ingrid, will serve you well. And that when you do sing the song of the country that you so love, you say, to all us, y'all us, that you do this lucid and you do it with the respect it deserves and the reverence it deserves. After all, being drunk is not on the docket. And that is today's cover story. Being drunk, really. Well, hopefully your rehab stint goes well. Coming up, speaking of that, mistakes. How should we be? Should we hold others to mistakes? Should we hold ourselves to mistakes? What is the proper temperament when we do make errors and mistakes? You're watching BS3 Presents The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on Roku TV, BS3TVLive.com, and the BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel, and you're listening to it live on Real Wise Radio. We'll be right back right after this.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze car.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crown they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to, I can be the black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific time zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Kentucky, home of great natural scenery and Churchill Downs. The Bluegrass State has offered 3 jewels. The University of Kentucky.
And the Kentucky coronation is complete.
Terry Brown.
Some people from Louisville, from Kentucky, I don't like the Derby. Okay, cool. Like, all right, I'm going to keep it moving.
And Vinny Hardy.
Us growing up on the border, we all went to school with Tennessee fans. We all had some teachers that was Tennessee fans.
BS3 Network proudly presents 2 men with Kentucky on their minds and all the sports matters at hand. Cats Talk Wednesday. Live every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central. Are you looking for something to do on your lunch break? Well, there's a show on the BS3 Network that has only 4 words to say to you.
We ready, we ready, we ready for y'all. We ready, we ready, we ready.
The Lunch Break, powered by JM&E. Live weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central.
Oh, and the Rockets, red cloud. I'm sorry, my bad. Let me stop. You're live listening to the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson, powered by BS3 on Real Wise Radio Network. You're watching it live on Roku TV, BS3TVLive.com, and the BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel. I'm so thankful that you're here, Shifter. Thank you so much. Oh, say, does that Star Spangled Banner? I'm sorry, my bad. Just having fun, as you can tell, with the bad national anthem renditions, since we heard one recently on Monday. Hopefully, we will have people who will take it more seriously. To Shift Nation we go. Ryan says, look, if there's one song you should never take artistic liberties with, it's the national anthem. Oh, exactly. Double, especially when you have had so many different renditions actually done well. It is hard to mess that song up, wanting to try to do it your own way. And Cool McCain says, she sounded so bad she had to check herself in the rehab. I'm not joking when I say this. The land of the free part of the national anthem I'm not saying this to be cold. She actually sounded as though a cat was being strangled. It really did sound that bad. I mean, I winced because I really felt bad for her. It was that bad. I can't clown it. It was just horrible. I was like, oh my gosh. And to hear that she wasn't fully prepared for it makes it even worse. But I'm not going to hold her to that. I mean, heck, she's 32 and she's had 32 years and some change to do a lot of right, to only focus that one thing to say that is all she contributed to life. And that's the only thing that I'm going to hold her feet to. I'm not going to do that. Not with her, not with you, Shifter, not with people I love. And hopefully you do the same thing with me. I'm human. In the song that Billy Joel actually sang, You're Only Human, Second Wind. He actually, the whole song, counsels a preteen about, yeah, you're going to make mistakes in life, but you got to learn from them. And you got to have the freedom to make the mistakes and do okay. And you'll be fine. Just don't assign yourself to mistakes, because it is easy for you to do that. It's easy for any of us to do that. But taking it from the pop realm to the Christian realm, how does that look? What does that look like? And how should we be? Well, that is the question, and I'm glad you're asking, because I'm asking the same, and here's lighting the way. Father God, in the name of Jesus, I thank you for this gift that you have given me called life. I thank you for the gift you've given me with the language to disseminate your word to your people. Your word says that when two or three are gathered together in the midst, you will be in the midst. So I thank you, Lord, for being here with this gathering. Whether they're watching it live or watching it on repeat, I thank you for being in the midst. Bless every single person that hears the following message that I put forth. Bless me in presenting that message to you, and divorce my ego from it. Let your message be represented only. None of me and all of you to be represented as I disseminate what you want me to say to your people. And may the words of my heart and the meditation of my heart be always acceptable in your sight. Oh Lord, you are my strength and my redeemer. In Jesus' name, amen. Some mistakes, we all make them. Heck, I've made them in this show. We all make mistakes. We're not exempt. None of us are. None of us should be. But what we should be is mindful of them and doing our best to tweak how we approach what we do after we make the mistake. But should we hold feet to the fire every time we make a mistake? Maybe with some, but not with all. After all, if we were to hold everybody's feet to the fire with every mistake they made, then our feet would be burned to a cinder ourselves. Just a thought. Now, there were many epistles that were written after Jesus came and roamed the earth and died and was born again and resurrected. One of the key epistles came from James, and James, I would say, is probably one of the best descriptions of, okay, if you want to really claim that you are a Christian, here's this mirror, here's this spiritual, here's this Holy Spirit mirror. Look at it. Are you a Christian with all the things that I am lining this up with and having you understand this is what you're supposed to be? If so, you see that reflection of Christ in you. If not, you won't see Christ at all. That to me is how impactful the book of James is, the epistle of James is. And he talks about mistakes and how we should be, and the countenance we should have, and the regard we should have, and when we make the mistakes, and how we should move going forward. And if we were to have the prospect of not making mistakes, how bad that looks. I think that's the best way to put it. So in chapter 3, verse 2 of the book of James, the epistle of James, he says, "For we all stumble in many ways, and if anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man, able also to bridle his whole body." For we all stumble in many ways, and if anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man, able also to bridle his whole body. So should we hold each other to the mistakes we make? If we made it like the 5th and 6th time, possibly, and I even say possibly there, because we can allow our flesh to overtake our viewpoint and our mental acuity when it comes to a certain situation. But overall, that answer is no. We shouldn't hold each other to the mistakes we make. We should hold each other accountable, yes, but hold each other accountable to doing the things we're supposed to do is one thing. But holding ourselves to the mistakes we make, or another way of putting it, you don't praise anything good that the others do, but you harp on only the bad things that they do, and that person harps on only the bad things you do. That isn't something we should do. That is a cancerous thing. In fact, that's a devilish thing. I did not say it is devilish to not hold someone accountable. That's different. I say it's devilish to not comment, okay, I'm seeing improvement here, or okay, so there, so you've actually conquered this mistake, but only focus on you can't do anything right. That is the devilment thing that I'm talking about. Now, is there a perfect man or woman in the world? No. And there's only been one that has roamed the earth. His name is Jesus. And that's our Savior. None of us are perfect. None of us. And to expect perfection out of anybody is a falsehood and a lie and a half. We should not hold anybody to perfection. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. We shouldn't hold anybody to perfection. And most certainly, we should not hold ourselves to perfection. We don't even hold Jesus to perfection, and he was perfect. We don't have to hold him to perfection because he was perfect. So if you want to know what perfection looks like, study the life of Jesus, and then you realize, oh, I fall far short. Yes. In fact, practice that. If you have this perfectionism in you, compare your life to Jesus, look in the mirror, and you have to say, I am not perfect because I am not Jesus. Now, you may be Jesus-like. I am Jesus-like. You are Jesus-like. But you're not Jesus, and I'm not Jesus. So if we're not Jesus, we're not perfect. But we're meant to be Christ-like. And we're meant to understand how to negotiate this world, stumbles, warts and all, and successes and all. So is any human being able to bridle this whole body? Now, so you probably said, okay, well, what does bridle mean? I don't quite understand that definition. It escapes me. Well, bridle basically means to hold and keep captive everything in it, and that how you think you are, you can just have that thought, and it's like, okay, you're going to line yourself up to what I think, right down to physical, how you do it. but it's a forced thing. Think of a horse, and you see that apparatus that he wears or she wears. If you're talking about a filly, that has a strap at the end where you see jockeys hold it, and it gets controlled. That's a bridle. And James is saying, if you're perfect, you basically are like a bridle having fit on your body, and you can do this to yourself, which you can't. None of us can, and none of us should. So when he says at the end of verse 2 of chapter 3 in James that this perfect man is also able to bridle this whole body, that's what he means. So what is the reason why we don't hold anyone to their mistakes? Why? Because you make mistakes yourself, and I make mistakes myself. That's the ultimate reason why we don't. And guess what? Our Savior doesn't hold us to those mistakes either. Now, when it comes to morality, at the end of the day, when this life is over, yeah. But as we walk this sojourn, remember, in the scripture, it says, I'll toss the sin that you have created as far away from you as east is from the west. God looks at us like a parent does. He sees the best in us. And when we see us being at our worst, he's basically saying, okay, well, he's struggling or she's struggling to get there. But he or she's going to get there. He doesn't say, oh, you are trifling, you horrible. You're a scoundrel. You stank. That's not how God operates. He operates by seeing the best in us because he wants to see, as DMC said in Dine with the King, he wants to see the God within you and the God within me. He wants to see himself in us. And when he can see himself in us, then he says, okay, you're on the right path. You stumbled. You stubbed your toe. Heal up and let's go. That's how it's supposed to go. And since he doesn't hold us to every mistake that we make, we shouldn't hold ourselves to the mistakes we make. That is a fallacy that we all need to stop doing. Once again, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. That's all the time that we have for this particular program. And I hope this blessed you because your time blessed me. For all of us here at the BS3 Network, the Morning Shift, and Coleman Media Incorporated, I am Cole Johnson, here to say in parting, as I always do, speaking of mistakes, there you go. Again, don't hold me to it. If you lack commitment, you'll never start. If you lack consistency, you'll never finish. If you lack love, you most certainly will never conquer. And if you lack memory loss, I'm not Joe Biden. No, I'm just joking. If you lack memory loss, so be it. It's memory loss. As long as you understand that, own it, and move forward. Until we meet again, 23-hour shifter, have a wonderful rest of your day. You are a blessing. Understand that. And how can I confidently say that? Because you have already been a blessing to me today. So If you bless me, bless somebody else today too. And let this day be better than it already is now. And it's pretty good right now. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a great rest of your morning. Bless somebody out there in the world today. So long, Shifter. I love you.